All right, perfect. All right, everyone. Don Felino here, owner of Puddle Pirate. I'm happy to say I'm joined by Sean Fadley, who is the chapter president for the Coast Guard Tactical Law Enforcement Association New Orleans chapter. So if you've been following on social media over the last couple of weeks, Puddle Pirate announced that we're actually going to be sponsoring a hole at their golf outing on March 28th. So pretty excited to get down to New Orleans. I have not been down there since Hurricane Katrina when I was deployed with PSU 309. So it'll be good to kind of see the community, obviously almost 20 years later, actually, 20-year anniversary this year for Katrina. But yeah, we'll be down there March 28th. We have a special edition t-shirt we designed that we're going to give 10% of the sales of that design to the chapter here. So Sean, welcome to, I guess, the Puddle Pirate community here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So, Sean, just curious, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the group here just a little bit about your background with the Coast Guard and kind of how it evolved and how you became the chapter president in New Orleans there.
We could take up hours on this. As the people that know me know, I have a crazy story, but I'll try to keep it condensed. In a nutshell, I started my Coast Guard career in the reserves as a PS at a PSU in LA. From there, I took active duty temporary orders to MSST San Fran and got out for a little bit. I was a police officer in the Phoenix area, went back into the reserves, ended up lateraling to YN in name only on paper, but working at Station Golden Gate active duty as a coxswain BO guy. Ended up getting after a pretty significant rescue case that my crew had that I was the coxswain for, ended up getting recognized by the commandant and offered a full-time active duty contract. So I took that and I was supposed to go to Mist Galveston before it became Mist Houston. But at the last minute, they said you got to drop down rank to SNBM to accept these orders, essentially. And of course, there was no non-rates at the Mist team. So created a billet for me at the station there in Galveston. Did that thing, ranked up a little bit, transferred to Mist New Orleans, where I did 5 years and retired in 2023. And now awesome. I'm the chapter president of the NOLA chapter of CGTLEA.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you definitely had a wild ride to get to retirement. So some nice billets along the way and probably some work to get to those billets, but it's glad to hear. So for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about the organization as a whole, the national organization, and a little bit about what's happening in New Orleans there.
Okay. Yeah. So the Coast Guard Tactical Law Enforcement Association, it's a 501c3 registered nonprofit charitable organization. There are two main mission sets of things they do to give back to the community. There are two programs, is the Emergency Assistance Fund and then the Nate Bruckenthal Memorial Scholarship, as well as some lesser scholarships along the way for dependents of Coast Guard families and members. So the Emergency Assistance Fund is, think of like a CGMA type grant you might get, or something, something goes wrong in your life, you're in a crisis and you need money now for whatever that may be. Emergency Assistance Fund works the same way at lightning quick speeds. So our record to date right now is from the moment that somebody within the organization is notified that somebody is in need of assistance, all the way up to national, where it's voted on, approved, cash back into the account, 18 minutes, which is remarkable for really any charity, let alone a national organization, through all these channels, from anywhere in the world, wherever this thing may happen. So that's our most utilized mission set, if you'll call it, or goal. And then we do, like I said, the scholarships that we have a open enrollment period every year where different dependents can apply. My son has been a recipient of these scholarships. He just graduated Loyola down here in New Orleans last year, actually. So all 4 years he received, scholarship money. So those are our two main mission sets. Here in New Orleans, we're a pretty large chapter as the chapters go, and one of the most active chapters. You mentioned our golf tournament coming up in March. We're holding that in Slidell. That's our kind of our flagship fundraiser that we do. It's a great time, open to the public. Everybody comes out, local community, industry people, coasties show up, police, fire. It's a hodgepodge of people, but it's a great time. And then we also do a fishing rodeo in the fall, which is our second kind of flagship event. And then internally as a chapter, if some of you followed us on social media lately, this last Sunday, we went up to PSU 308, which is one of our adopted units. We have 308, Miss New Orleans and Station New Orleans are adopted units. And we cooked food for them as 150 members, gave them lunch, recognized their Sailor of the Quarter, gave them a gift card, coined them, just giving back to the people that we're designed to serve.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, Sean. And for everyone out there, I shared with Sean earlier is the organization, the national chapter, or the national organization. I've donated personally for years. And unfortunately, back in 2016, one of my really good friends, a crewman when I was in Kuwait, who made coxswain, a member of 309, unfortunately took his own life, and it was very difficult for his wife and children. And I just reached out to the organization, just seeing if there's anything they could do. And to your point of speediness, it was relatively quick. I know they made a small donation to his wife, kind of gearing into the holidays and everything, and with his 2 young children. So definitely a personal nonprofit that I am passionate to help promote and give back to, because for a lot of us in the DSF community or have served in that community, there's a lot of unfortunate events that happen, but to have an organization that's there to support us, to support our family members, and do it relatively quick without a lot of the red tape that we see with some of the other organizations. Exactly. Is very powerful and meaningful. So, Sean, it's great to kind of have you step up and lead the New Orleans chapter from that regard. So, personal thanks from me, and I know from others that have benefited or seen some benefits from what that organization actually does, every year throughout the year and across the country as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and beyond my son receiving that the college scholarship money, in 2015 he was diagnosed with cancer and went through some pretty serious inpatient treatment for a better part of a year. And CGTLEA stepped up and we're sending him care packages and swag and get well cards, and we're thinking about you. And just all across the country, photos and letters and cards were coming in that was spearheaded by CGTLEA, and it was a really good thing for him to have, like, all these people fighting for him, and those are the types of things we do beyond our published missions of here we'll give you money or here we'll give you scholarships. It's beyond that, and just the community support, things like the barbecue I talked about. Everybody super appreciative, loved it. Granted, it was just a basic cheeseburger and some chips, but hey, that's awesome. And for those that have served in any branch, when some organization comes in and slings lunch for you, I mean, it's awesome. It feels good, so we go beyond the scope of just our kind of published things you see online to really just try to give back to the people that give back to all of us as an entirety, as a nation.
Yeah. And Sean, I can imagine as a parent to a son that's going through that, those cards and support outside of just financial means, does go a long way. And, your son's healthy and well, correct? Doing well now.
Yep.
And
yep.
One way.
He's off living his life, doing big time things in the music industry.
Ah, there we go. So, well, good to hear that. Again, just another example where the organization's really stepped up and helped our community members. And so, again, one of the reasons I'm excited to come down to New Orleans here at the end of March to hang out on a golf course and hand out some swag and maybe sell some T-shirts along the way, but meet other community members down there that are giving back to obviously your chapter, but the organization as a whole. So you mentioned the golf outing, you mentioned the fishing rodeo in the fall. Maybe I'll make an appearance again sometime in the future. But from your perspective, Sean, how else can others get involved with the organization, give back, like any guidance along those ways?
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, donations, right? Everybody thinks charity, oh, I got to donate. You don't have to donate. Would that be cool? Of course. Whether it's one time or you join if you're a member to become eligible, which the membership criteria, one thing I would like to I'd like to put to bed is that it's only hardcore DSF tacklet type MSRT people that can be members. And while it was that way at one point, if you go to cgtle.org/join, it lists all the criteria. It's too much to list here, but it's basically inclusive to probably 85+% of the Coast Guard. On top of that, you don't even have to be in the Coast Guard. You can just be a supporter. And, you set up your $5 a month, $10 a month, however many bucks a month you want to do this reoccurring donation and, start getting involved a little bit more. And if money is not the thing for you, you can always volunteer. You can share our stuff on social media, get our name out there, get the word out to our events, and not just our events, national events. There's chapters all around Southern Florida, all the way up Last Frontier chapter in Anchorage, Alaska, New England, San Diego, Golden Gate, they're all over these chapters. So just a simple share of something to get that word out. You don't know how many dividends that pays when somebody sees it, whether that be a company or an individual alike that wants to sponsor something or show up and participate and just help out. So we always need volunteers to do things like cook burgers and manage golf holes and who knows what, that we may be doing along the way.
Yeah, perfect. And Sean, what's your Instagram or Facebook handle for those that are following?
It's CGTLEA NOLA, which is NOLA for both of them. So go to Instagram, you search that, Facebook, search that, Google, search that, it all pops up.
Perfect. And as Sean mentioned, the likes, the shares on social, they could go a long way. You won't always see the, I guess, benefit of doing that and spreading the word, but you never know who's going to see that. So definitely give them a follow, like their post, share their post. You got some good swag I see coming out, some challenge coins that look pretty interesting in that regard too. But obviously, Puddle Pirate wants to support your chapter too. So as I mentioned, we do have a New Orleans style design, Puddle Pirate design. Pretty cool. Even says Semper Paratus on the sleeve, kind of subdued a little bit, but 10% of all those sales are going to go back to your chapter. So we'll be able to donate in that regard. We'll be down there with you March 28th. I'll have some swag with me. So, we'll see what I come up with, but I know I have a couple things ordered that I'm going to be bringing down with me to kind of hand out on the golf course. So if you're in the area and want to actually participate in the golf outing, what should they do, Sean?
So it's plastered all over social media. In fact, if anybody's in the New Orleans area watching this right now, coming up in a few days, what's 28th right now? Coming up in a few days, we have a couple commercial spots on Paramount Network that's going to be coming out, or Paramount Plus, I should say, all their streaming channels and platforms. So maybe you'll see us there. And if you don't do social media, it's cgtleanola.com/register, and it'll take you right to the link with all the info, and you can sign up, you can be a sponsor, you can do whatever you need to do right there.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to coming down in a couple months, Sean. Any other last piece of advice, guidance for the group?
Just thank you to all you guys watching and gals. And, without people like Puddle Pirate, doing these little collabs, you could call it, t-shirts, sponsorships, coming out and having a booth at the golf tournament, without those things, none of this happens. So every little bit counts. It does not have to be monetary. It could be an item. It could be your help, your time, your share. It all helps, and we appreciate every bit of it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Sean. You enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Hey, we'll see you here in a couple months. Thanks for coming out.